Hey, I hope you're doing well. Quick story about a student that I had last week. I had a private student. We worked on his forehand and his serve, and we made a really nice improvement to his forehand related to his preparation position. This is a 79-year-old student who learned how to play tennis many decades ago and has been slowly but surely making the transition from an old school kind of classic game to a more modern new school, kind of game. He's changed his grip to semi-Western. He's learned a lot of new skills, how to use his body more dynamically, open stances, that sort of thing. So I received a message from him after the session, and the message basically said, and this is somebody who's worked really hard. Like I said, he's made a lot of changes already. And he knew going in that we were going to be doing shadow swings. We were going to be doing fake tosses. He's watched me coaching with players before. And he was skeptical in his mind. He was kind of saying to himself, yeah, shadow swings. I'm supposed to shadow swing, but, it hasn't really worked in the past. And he sent me a note saying, just thank you for the session. He had a great time. He was surprised how quickly we were able to change his forehand in particular, his preparation position. If you saw my email the last 2 days about forehand power, the images that this was that student of preparation position before was really weak. There was no coil. His left arm was really passive. Totally changed it. He was hitting big forehands at the end of our session together. And his worry, he said, was he was afraid we were just going to shadow swing the whole time and wasn't actually going to be able to hit any balls. But he was very surprised how quickly he was able to change by using the shadow swings. But here's the key. Here's kind of the point of today's video. He said, going back, I was surprised at how different it was and how uncomfortable the new positions were at first, because I've done shadow swings. I do tons of practice. He's been playing tennis for like 50, 60 years. He played in college. Really good player, like great athlete, really, solid fundamentals all around. And so he was shocked at how quickly he was able to improve and also how far off the mark he was before. And that's where he said in his message to me that the shadow swings were so valuable, because it was such a big contrast and he was so uncomfortable with the new things that I was asking him to do, that it took all of his attention. It took all of his concentration without a ball just to do the new thing correctly. And he said he realized in hindsight that was the value of shadow swings. It wasn't just like rehearsing for the sake of rehearsing or like just going through the motions. And I see this look on students' faces all the time when I'm working with private students, where we go through the routine. I have them do some shadow swings, then we hit a ball, then we do some shadow swings again, then we hit a ball. And there are times where I see my students fall into the trap, and I can see it on their face, where they're like, okay, all right, do more shadow swings. And they're just kind of doing it because I'm asking them to, and they're like supposed to do it, so they're doing it. They're just kind of doing it to be nice, but I can tell they don't understand the point of it. The point of it is we're trying to make a change to an old habit. In the case of this student, a 50, 60-year habit. Imagine that. Some of these fundamentals that the student is doing to prepare for his forehand, he started doing 60 years ago as a college player. We're talking about changing a 60-year-old habit. And even if you do video analysis, just because you see yourself, you're like, oh, wow, I'm doing this wrong, doing that wrong, doing the other thing wrong. There's no way, after 60 years of doing it one way, while the ball is coming towards you, that you're just going to magically snap your fingers. It's not going to just instantly change. And so taking the ball out of it and doing the new thing right, that's the key. That's the whole point here. The whole point of taking the ball out is to do the new thing right. If you take the ball out and you just practice the way you always do it, then there is no point. And it is a waste of time. And my student said in his message, let me take that back. You can become more precise at the way you've always done it by doing shadow swings, but you're not going to just organically evolve magically into a new and better swing just because you do shadow swings. The whole point of shadow swings is taking the ball away and consciously, deliberately with a high degree of concentration, do the new one, not the old one. And he said to me in his note, I could have shadow swing forever and not gotten any better. That's a direct quote from his message that he sent me a little bit after our session. I could have done shadow swings forever and never gotten any better. And so he realized during our session, that's the point. The point of the shadow swing isn't just to like rehearse and like go through the motions and just like do it again and just kind of like fill time. The point is to take away the challenge of the ball being there, because the ball will draw out your old habit. That's the point of the shadow swing. So if you're just going through the motions and just doing shadow swings just because you think you're supposed to, or because coaches do it, and so if you're supposed to do it if you're working on your game or whatever, there needs to be a specific reason or purpose behind it. You can't just do shadow swings just randomly without any purpose behind them and just magically get better. There has to be a conscious reason. What is the thing I'm changing? And then the shadow swing becomes valuable. So anyway, enjoyed that session with that student. 79-year-old player, made a huge change in his forehand in an hour or two. Look at my emails the last 2 days if you're on the email list, probably, if you're watching this. And so it was like forehand position for power or something like that. And it showed the before, an image of one of the drills we did to change his preparation position, and then the after result of him actually hitting from the baseline and hitting full forehands. It was a huge improvement in a 79-year-old player with 60-year-old habits. That's huge. That should give hope and inspiration to all of you out there. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for watching. Talk to you again soon.